Before this video begins, I'd like to say that Salty Waters is not going to be limited to me playing games. It's going to be whatever I feel like I want to review in my own opinion, and from what I find in other people's gameplay or other videos. Also, another thing I want to say is that fairly soon, I'm thinking of starting a series of videos of just me writing pieces and posting them onto YouTube. For some people who don't know this already, I'm a writer attempting to write a book, which is coming out sometime during US summer. So with all this said and done, let's begin the video. So, Apex Legends. Apex Legends Respawn, I don't know. I'm just going to say Apex Legends. You know, it's easier for me. Got pressured into releasing a battle pass for their first season, which, to be quite honest, is bland. I can make a video ridiculing the mess up for giving into peer pressure into its own video, but where's the fun in that, right? So instead, I'll be making a video on the season as a whole. So the main selling point for the season isn't even included if you buy the battle pass. The newest legend, Octane, was released along with the season and the battle pass. Now you see, you could buy the battle pass for 950 Apex coins. You theoretically could get most of that money back. But why would you do that when you can get the dumb shit over with and buy the guy? Which is what I did. I bought Octane, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. He's a blast to use. Besides being fun though, I don't see much of a use in him to a team. If you play him right, you could flank enemies and help teammates dish out damage, and maybe use your jump pads to escape the enemy artillery and such. But most of the time, you say, frick that noise, and you stem yourself away from conflict and throw down your jump pad to get somewhere faster while you still got your drugs in your system. I played him as some would say is the intended purpose of the game, but I can also say that most of the times I try to play and coordinate with my team, they mess up and they get themselves killed. So I usually use him to flank enemies and get out of a bad situation. I can't say how many times I just stimmed to get away from a couple of shots to a white shield. I mean, it's something about the character that just makes you more of a weakling. Like, you feel scared most of the time, making him the only character to damage themselves with their own ability. But he has a counter to this. His passive slowly rejuvenates health when damaged. And hell, it even works when you're downed. His jump pads are okay, to say the least. It's an ult you'd think would be useless, but its purpose is always served with or without him. Just compared to other ults, it seems underwhelming. But when you combo it with any other ability, the thing goes from okay to Gibraltar has found a way to launch his dome shield around the map. Levels of fun. I think I've only ever used them to just launch off to the next dimension with a combo with the stim. His jump pad just allows him to gain distance, which, I'm going to be honest, even though it's okay, it makes anyone feel like a straight bowling badass. I think the coolest thing about Octane isn't even his kit. It's just his personality. I mean, we don't have another druggie turned adrenaline junkie in Apex. It's just so cool to hear him talk about getting more adrenaline when he's on the course of ODing in front of his squad. His backstory is one of my personal favorites among the characters. I won't go into it, but definitely check that out. He's one of the most interesting characters in the game. Now the Battle Pass. Something I praised Apex for not shoving down people's throats. Look where that got us. Now, another problem with Apex is definitely the Battle Pass. And to be honest, I love this problem. Because the items are basically useless, and no one gives a damn which skin you rock on Mirage, Lifeline, or... I forgot the third one. But I know it wasn't good. I mean, there just wasn't any diversity in it. It was just the same items repeated over and over again. Now, at first, I was disappointed in the game for the Battle Pass. Then I was disappointed because of the lack of cosmetics in the Battle Pass. Now I'm damn near fit as a fiddle because the items are next to worthless. By God, I'm glad that this game doesn't shove the Battle Pass down your throat like Fortnite did. Like, come on, dude. I get it. I'm broke. I don't need to spend $150 to have some fun. I came to play the game for some dubs, not for some shite skin collecting. So I am glad that the game doesn't have a battle pass that shoves it down our throats of its existence. However, I do hope Apex does release some new content. Who knows, maybe a new area on the map to play in? An event, perhaps? You know, I'm gonna fucking redo that. Who knows? Maybe even a new area on the map to play in. Or an event, perhaps. Just something to shift the game in a direction where it won't feel as if you're playing the same game over and over and over again. They need to... They need to break the cycle of we're just gonna add in cosmetics and call it a day. I think Apex still needs some room for improvement. They did fix a couple of glitches I've seen, like the jetpack glitch where you be falling down and propel yourself across the map. And yeah, there are more glitches being discovered, but I'm impressed on how Apex isn't just allowing people to exploit them, obviously. Most glitches send you into the map where no bullets go through and are basically just death wishes because of the storm. They did add a report player button just in case someone is playing a little sketchy, which is something I don't remember I recommended they do in my last video, but I do remember talking about it with my friends. Now I'm going to talk about a problem that they didn't fix, and this is off script, and that's they did not buff Gibraltar or Caustic. Caustic just, it appears that he's now more fun to play as, but Gibraltar, oh my god, he's still fun to play as, but damn, I cannot use him for the life of me, bro. Because his ult, they nerfed his ult, which, okay, yeah, I get it. Nerfed the ult, it was pretty broken to begin with. But I mean, damn, like, did you really have to do it, like, this hard to him? I feel kind of bad to the point where Gibraltar just doesn't feel playable anymore. I still play him, to be honest, just because of the fact that it's a challenge for me. But I don't like the fact that they made it a challenge for your teammates. For those of you who don't know the nerf to Gibraltar, it was his ultimate before. It wasn't like Bangalore's where it didn't do teammate damage. You just run in for your teammates. They would like scope out people and they'd shoot them in the artillery barrage. But now they can't do that because they can't move. It does more damage than Bangalore's, and you're pretty much insta-downed. I've had an event, which I'll be showing you that, guys, that event later, I hope. I had an event today as a recording where last 3 squads, I threw down the artillery barrage, and I'm trying to run out, but I can't because the artillery barrage is hitting so hard on me and my teammates that it literally knocked me out of the map. I was in the storm. I couldn't do anything about it. Just the fact that my banner is now off map where my teammates can't even get my gold helmet and stuff like that. It felt like he's just too big of a target. Now and before, his hitbox is still as massive as ever, although I think they did do a couple changes to it. I don't really know for sure. His passive just doesn't feel right, and I mean, the Gibraltar needs a buff. Like, at this point, he's just a broken demigod. He's like Maui without his hook. He's basically useless. He's just a big man who looks threatening, but he really isn't. I've lost battles to Caustic now, which is new because I've never seen anybody play Caustic unless they were on my team and didn't know how to use him. I mean, I've actually died to a Caustic, which is a big improvement from what we had last time. And I guess that's good. I don't know if they did anything to him or not. But, I mean, if they didn't, like, maybe a little tweak to him for buffing him, you know, it's just Caustic and Gibraltar, they're defensive characters that don't defend. It feels like his dome shield doesn't do anything because the artillery barrages feels like it's going through. But even then, it's just, you know, it doesn't feel right. I guess you could just yeet the damn barrage thing away from you and put you down your dome shield to block enemy fire. But the whole point of Gibraltar at the start of the game was put down your dome shield, throw your ult on the dome shield, clear out enemies, because they either have 2 choices, run away or run into the dome. They run away, they're guaranteed to have a fight later, but at the time, that's a whole target on their backs. Everyone knows where they went. If they go into the dome, that's a fight they could or couldn't win. You never know. It just, Caustic's abilities, I mean, they fit him. Like, there's nothing you need to do to him. It's just the fact of his hitbox. It just feels weak. His passive, it feels weak. You see enemies in your gas. I mean, no? Like, what? That doesn't really feel much of a passive. because enemies rarely hit your Nox gas traps, and even if they do, they're probably going to be halfway across the map from you as soon as they do hit it. It's just weird. Caustic is a very gray area. I feel like he needs a buff. I just don't know where to buff him. He's compared to all the other characters whose abilities aren't even all that good. I mean, Mirage's abilities are garbage, but people pick him more. God knows why. I don't know why they pick him more. His abilities aren't that good. His personality's great. Caustic's a personality. I mean, I guess he's cool. He's supposed to be the scientist that just wants death. He wants to see what happens when you gas him. And I saw a little, interview with the game developers. They both just kept saying on how Caustic originally was going to be a good guy, and his intentions were to be great, a good person, but that just didn't work out for them, which I could understand. It's a hard personality to make. I can also see that most people just aren't enjoying Caustic's personality or the character in general. Damn, like, I almost wish that they would change Caustic's abilities a little bit. His ultimate feels a little underwhelming as well. I feel like his ultimate needs a little bit of a buff. I mean, it's cool that you just throw a huge gas grenade at some people, which do a lot of damage. But I mean, like, is that all it does? Can it not be any more? His passive, maybe change it. Maybe his passive could be the more gas traps you put down, the more damage you do, whether it be close to each other or not. That'd be good. You don't need to see people. It'd be cool to have that. I don't know, though. Caustic's just a gray area. You could keep him how it is. You could buff him. I just don't think he needs a nerf. I think he needs to be changed a little bit, though. Gibraltar, on the other hand, I'm going to go back to him because, damn, I'm going to go off because I practice this shit a lot. Gibraltar needs a buff. It's just too difficult for him to stay as a character in this game where everyone feels as if they're too tiny of a target to hit. Gibraltar, his dome shield is cool. His passive ability, in theory, is pretty neat. But the fact is that even if it helps him, it feels like it hurts him more because what it does essentially is it clusters around the corners. If you don't have a 2x scope to look through, the entire thing clusters around and you can't really see through it. You could tell that what they're trying to do is to show the edges of the shield, but if you look at it out, his head is looking through the middle of the shield. You don't need to see the corners to know that it's there. Which, I mean, that's a good buff right there if they could at least get rid of that cluster. I'm not sure if that was intentional or not. Get rid of the cluster. That would be a good buff to his thing, his passive. And maybe increase the damage it can withstand. I mean, it only withstands 50 damage, which, just so you know, is about 4 or 5 shots for the P20. I mean, and that's like one of the worst guns in the game. That and the Mozambique. The Mozambique, you take that thing down with 2 shots. 25, 25, 50, done. It's depressing. He feels underwhelming. I just wish they would change that aspect of him. Everyone else, they feel okay. Mirage he selected a lot, I think mainly because of, I don't know why, to be honest. Maybe his personality or something like that is what people are selecting him for. Because I don't see anyone using his abilities to max potential. I mean, his ultimate literally just calls out 6 different decoys, and you're going invisible. And as soon as you become visible again, all of them disappear. Where are you going to go with that? Like, you're going to run a little bit of a distance. That's it. And everyone's going to think that those 6 decoys are you. That's not how it works. If they would make it so that way the decoys would have less of a glare, and if the decoys weren't so damn dumb, that would be good. Because I don't know how many times I was crouching, right, and stand and then call my decoy to run, but then he gets stuck on a damn rock or pebble in his step. He doesn't feel right. Octane, I'm gonna put him into the thing, the whole main purpose of this video. He's fun to play as, but he needs a nerf. Oh my god, he needs a nerf. His stim ability just feels as if he's going a little too slow at the end. right? Slow, fast, fast. It feels like he's running too fast. I don't know why I said slow. He needs to go slower at the end because you could. What happens is that inject, you stay at a constant speed for a little bit, which is increased. You stay at increased speed for a little bit, and then you start to decline. If they would add it so that way the decline would happen faster, but more at a faster time, and then decline slower, I feel like that'd be a great nerf. Honestly, I don't feel like he'd be too broken by then. Jump pads. Well, I mean, the charge is like super fast. I don't know how fast his charge goes, but I know like about every 1 second you get 2% back. So within a minute you get your ult, right? Then again, it's a passive ult. Literally everyone in the game can use the jump pad. It's not that hard. And that's kind of the thing. Jump pads are a very universal item to use. You could, if you wait enough time, you could bounce off one jump pad and throw another jump pad, and you gain twice the distance. And use your stim to like launch yourself at faster paces and such. But I do think he needs a little bit of a nerf in the department of his stim and a buff in the department of his jump pads. I really wish they would do a little more distance without the stim. I don't think you really need to nerf the jump pads. Maybe give it a little buff. His hitbox feels kind of tiny, so a fast, tiny target, it's like shooting a mouse 100 yards away with a pistol. Like that's just too hard to do, unless you're like a pristine Shroud player. I mean, Hunter, right? It's just he feels like he needs just a tweak. But that's all I got to say, to be honest with you guys. I went over most of the stuff that I want to go over off script and on script. So, yeah. With that being said, hope y'all enjoy the rest of your day. See ya. Sam out.